All right, thank you very much. All right, everyone, welcome to the School District of Brown Deer regular school board meeting. My name is Dr. Todd Beater. I'd like to call this meeting to order at 6:02 p.m. Verification of the public notice. The meeting was publicly noticed. Verification of a quorum. We have all 7 board members in attendance. Approval of the agenda. Would someone like to be able to make a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
Dr. Beto, I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Thank you very much, Ms. Zick. Motion has been made. Do we have a second?
Dr. Beto, I'll second.
Thank you very much, Ms. Peterson. Motion has been made and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor with raised hand and or aye. Ms. Daniels Ashley. Okay, there we go. All right. Motion carries unanimously 7-0. And on to our mission statement. Together with our families and community, we will inspire students to be passionate learners, creative thinkers, and innovative leaders who enrich our world. All right, with that being said, I just want to be able to give everyone a couple of things for housekeeping this evening. If you do not need to speak, if you could please have your audio on to mute, so that way we don't have a lot of the playback and a lot of the distortion that goes on. Tonight is a regular board meeting, so we do have our public comment section, and Ms. Lisa Zielinski will be monitoring the chat. If you do have a public comment, not a question again, if you do have a public comment, please put it in the chat and Ms. Zielinski will be able to monitor that. And when we get to public comments, your statement will be able to be read. But again, it is only going to happen if you put it in the chat in order for Ms. Zielinski to be able to monitor that part and being able to read that. All right, and with that being said, let's go on to our district communication, our district administrator's report. Dr. Kelsey Brown.
Good evening, board members. This is the last board meeting of the 2021 academic school year. And so to wrap up the school year, just wanted to inform the board and the community. The COVID task force, the COVID-19 task force team continues to meet weekly to understand how COVID is showing up in our buildings. I want the community to know that we are excited about our elementary students returning back to school on Thursday, December 17th. We are excited to have them back. Our my pandemic debriefing call with the North Shore Health Department and area superintendents continues on a bi-weekly basis. On Wednesday, December 15th, our winter concert will take place at 7 p.m. In the MAC. On Friday, Mrs. Brown is taking some of our high school students to the Riverside Theater during the day to see Christmas Motown. And some of you are already aware that we tested. Students had to either be vaccinated or show a negative test in order to participate in that particular field trip. We also have set up a COVID vaccination session for Saturday from 10 to 2 at the elementary school in the Deb Kerr Community Room, and that is in conjunction with our partnership with Health Connections. Let me revisit the high school trip on Friday. That is being supported by Strive 365. They set this opportunity up for our students, and so it is free of charge. And so I want to say thank you to Strive 365 for reaching out to us and providing that opportunity for our students on Friday as we go into the holiday break. On Saturday, December 18th, I will be in Racine at 7:45 a.m. We have 55 students who will be participating in the DECA competition. Again, that's on Saturday at 7:45 in Racine. And then our winter break will be start Monday, December 20th. We are expecting our students to return on Monday, January 3rd. And finally, I'd like to say congratulations to Dr. Willie Garrison. If you all noticed, he has changed his screen intentionally, his name on his screen intentionally. So he officially defended his dissertation on today, and so he is now Dr. Willie E. Garrison. With that being said, I would like to say thank you to the board for an amazing school year. Happy holidays to everyone. And please, let's remember, while it is happy for some of us, it may not be happy for others, because we do know that some of our students and families do struggle during this time of the year. So we want to keep them in our thoughts as the struggle continues for some, while others are able to celebrate in a fashion that makes them happy. So there's that, bittersweetness between going on the holiday break, but again, just being mindful of, we are still thoughtful around our kids and what they might experience for the 2 weeks. But we will be excited to see everyone return to school on Monday, January 3rd. And that is the district administrator's update report. And if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Board members, any questions for Dr. Kelsey Brown? All right, thank you, Dr. Kelsey Brown. And again, congratulations to Dr. Garrison now. Let's go on to our principal's report, our principal's update. Mr. Griffin.
One second, I'm gonna work on Mr. Griffin's laptop here, but we're gonna
Okay. While we
share.
move forward then.
It's
how
okay,
about
well,
do
we
this?
can do that. He's gonna, sorry, so he's going to, I opened up the presentation here. Here it is, so sorry, all right. All right, and then we are going to present. Sorry.
Good afternoon, Board of Education. Here to give the principal updates for the elementary school. As far in regards to staffing, we're seeking one special education teacher, one gifted and talented coordinator, and we're looking for 1 to 2 potential long-term substitutes. In addition to, we're still interviewing for educational assistants. One of the things I do want to give a tremendous kudos to our entire district force, the support that has been extended as we are trying to fill all of our positions, especially with our absences in the midst of COVID. It's a very daunting task, but I am glad that we have the support of the district, of the board, to continuously try to do the best that we can to fill positions, but also make sure that we have high instruction happening in our classroom each and every day. When it comes to our meeting updates, our instructional team is still leading our PLCs throughout the building with a focus on literacy, and the district instructional team continues to lead the PLC reboot, which was happening this past Friday. A huge thank you to our educational assistants. As everyone knows, the elementary did go virtual, and during that time, the educational assistants did go over to the middle school and the high school to provide support for our district in that capacity. We're very thankful for the work that they do each and every day. One of the things that we've been doing to try to address some of the attendance concerns is at the elementary, we've been having gene-based incentives on Wednesdays. And then this week, staff members pay $5 to participate wearing jeans all week, and that money will be donated to a charitable cause. Speaking of charitable causes, I have to give credit to Dr. Brown and some members of the elementary staff that support the Wisconsin Badgers, because they did defeat the Marquette Golden Eagles, and I'll be making my contribution as well for that. As far as academics, the elementary did shift to virtual. We'll be opening back up this Thursday. We're very excited about that. There's a lot of positive feedback around the literacy and social studies professional learning at the elementary school that happened on last week, Friday. And then we're starting to see rubrics being created around that ASW tool, analyzing student work tool, that has happened in our district. And finally, just another congratulations to Dr. Willie Garrison. And that's it for elementary.
All right, does anybody have any questions for Mr. Griffin? All right, thank you very much, sir. All right, let's go on to Ms. Pitchford.
Good afternoon, good evening.
Ms. Pittsford, your
Is it
Wi-Fi,
just me or does the Wi-Fi seem as though it's not working?
Charlie, your Wi-Fi is freezing up.
Everyone and the board, just waiting. Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, I just got a notification saying it was unstable. Can you all hear me now?
Yes.
No? Yeah? Okay. All right. I'll try to go fast then. I pulled it up on my other screen because I don't see it on the Zoom. So as far as staffing needs, well, first of all, I want to give a shout out definitely to the board, Dr. Brown, and my principal mates, the educational assistants who came up to support at the middle school have been phenomenal, also willing to just jump in wherever needed. So thank you so much just for allowing us to utilize the assistance of the staff members at the elementary school. As far as staffing needs, we're looking for special education teacher. We did have a couple of interviews and we're just waiting on some potential candidates for some second rounds. We have a Spanish teacher opening and we have one candidate that we are looking to try to interview. 6th grade science and 8th grade social studies teacher. Those are our staffing needs at this time. As far as meeting updates, we're continuing with our instructional teams and our PLC around our academic goals, standards, and assessments. And we're also continuing with our SST grade level bi-weekly meetings, just to really wrap our arms around the social and emotional supports that some of our students may need, and just try to provide those supports as much as possible. As far as SEL and culture, being that it's our first year for our leadership team at the middle school, we really are trying to spend a big emphasis around our SEL and culture, just to make sure we're building our own identity as a middle school. So we're continuing our SEL and restorative practices and really putting those practices into more formalized action to support students who may be struggling or having conflicts with others. As far as our PBIS incentives, we had a great time at our staff student basketball game the day before Thanksgiving. It was phenomenal. The staff won all 3 games, and so the students are definitely looking for a rematch. But this
Ms. Pitts,
Friday, I'm sorry.
yeah, we're losing you. Can you maybe turn your camera off and see if that helps?
Okay. All right. Should I go ahead and try again?
Yes, that sounds better.
Awesome. Thank you. So yeah, our winter formal dance is this Friday. We have been doing theme days in December just to lift everyone's spirits, and it wasn't really around a Christmas theme. We threw some of that in there, but we've had a great time just seeing staff and some students participate in that. We will be conducting grade level meetings that will take place the first week after break, just to remind students about expectations. We have a treat coming up during our lunch times, which have been going so much better. We're really grateful for Mr. Tucker. But our orchestra will be doing some lunchtime performances for their peers during lunch. And we're planning ELA and Math Spirit Weeks in the 2nd semester just to celebrate our learning, because learning can be fun. And we're also looking at doing some school-wide read-ins. And academics, we're continuing, as Mr. Griffin was talking about, with the use of our data tools, our ASW tool within our content area teams. And we are planning for winter FastBridge assessments the 2nd week in January, and we are starting to plan for our forward testing. These are our middle school updates.
All right, board members, any questions for Ms. Pitchford and the middle school? All right, thank you very much, Ms. Pitchford. Now let's go on to Ms. Brown.
Good evening, everyone. Just a couple updates about the high school. We still need a cross-categorical special education teacher. Actually, Ms. Pitchford had offered to let me do interviews with her to interview some of the special ed candidates that she had, but their certification only went up to sometimes 8th grade, maybe 9th. And I just felt like I should hold out to try to get a candidate that was more 9 through 12. So we are still looking for a special ed teacher for high school. If we look at our
Shivala, you're muted by accident, I think.
now, I had to mute. Okay,
You got some little people.
Yes, I have little people, so I had to mute for a second. So going on to our meeting updates, we are still continuing with our EP meetings with teachers in the morning, and the teachers are reflecting on their practices. We are using the ASW tool to look at our student work. The high school teachers are actually doing a wonderful job with developing rubrics for, I'm sorry. They're actually doing a wonderful job developing rubrics for, so they take a standard and then they talk about what does that standard look like at a distinguished meeting, needing support. And there's one more level. I'm sorry, I can't think, I'm kind of a little flustered. But the teachers are really going through the ASW tool and talking about after they teach the standard, how do the students meet the standard using their rubric, and then talking about how do they incorporate some reteaching in their practices as they continue to move on and try to strengthen the skills of the students. So it's really nice to see the teachers actually talking about what does it mean to be distinguished, or what does it mean to meet the goal, the standard for the particular courses. So it's just, they're having different type of conversations. And I think those conversations are going to even help them when they're planning their lessons and their activities, because if you understand where the students need to go, then you're able to plan those activities to ensure that those students reach those particular benchmarks. We also have some ongoing conversations about our master schedule, and Dr. Brown has stated that she will allow not only myself, but some members of the high school team to come and talk with the board, because we are interested in possibly changing our master schedule for the 22-23 school year. It is a change because it does impact our academics and how the length of time the students are in courses. And so we really feel this school year, we're making it work, but we really have an idea that we want to change our master schedule for the next school year. And we also are looking at some of our course offerings. I have briefly talked to Dr. Brown about, can we contract with some other organizations just to strengthen some of our offerings at the high school. So she said, just propose your ideas, talk about the budget, talk about student interest, and then hopefully we can maybe get some additional offerings at the high school. I just wanted to give an update. Last month, we talked about having a student staff basketball game. I don't know if we didn't have the best referees, Dr. Garrison, or because he was one of our refs, or I don't know if it was the team, but somehow the students and the staff member had a tie game at the end. So we do still do a lot of trash talking, and they want a rematch because of course we both want to say we won. But from that donation, or from that event, we were able to donate, that should be Feeding America, but $408 to Feeding America. So that was a great contribution. And I think the students liked the fact that we were able to give back to the community. Dr. Brown has already said we're taking around 250 students tomorrow to see Motown at the Riverside. In addition, we're also probably taking 40 staff members, so probably 300 people from the high school will be leaving to go see Motown. We do have some extra seats, so if you, your families, or anyone would like to join us, please give us your name so we can add you to our list. But we are anticipating that this is going to be a wonderful event for our students. Also for academics, second semester for the high school is all about testing. We have 4 testing, ACT Aspire and the ACT test. When the kids get back from winter break, we start our ACT prep sessions on January 6th. All of that prep will be because we did get back our results from our practice ACT. And so we will be using that to base our test prep for ACT. And then our ACT test is on March 8th of 2022. So that is the updates from the high school.
All right, anyone have any questions for Ms. Brown? All right,
I have-
just one, oh,
no.
I'm sorry.
I was raising my hand. I have a question. What are the areas in which you are planning on adding courses or changing courses? What subject areas or?
Oh, thank you for asking that. So right now we offer pretty much like one coding class. And when I say coding, it's kind of it's extensive in that we have a partnership with Teal. And so we have someone who's actually working in the field with Mrs. O'Connell, and they help develop coding skills for kids and programming. But there's actually a sequence of courses that we would like for our students to go through that would be a direct line to maybe a computer science degree if they were interested in going into that field. So we're looking at strengthening those courses. In addition, for some fun electives, we don't have a dance course. So I'm thinking that maybe we could partnership with Signature Dance Company to offer some type of dance course. Students also are into music production. And so MATC has a music production program. And so, trying to help our students understand the technical pieces behind something that they already know how to do and really learn how to do it well to help them maybe be able to start a business or go into this field and make really nice income. So we're thinking about strengthening our courses all around, not just one particular area, but those are just some examples.
Okay, thank you.
All right, Ms. Peterson? You're on mute.
Got it. Thank you. Ms. Brown, just a question regarding the changing of the master scheduling in 22-23. I know that you're in ongoing meetings and certainly nothing is set in stone, but can you highlight or give us a little bit more info regarding what your thoughts and plans and hopes are regarding the changes?
Sure, and thank you for asking that question. So in a very brief way, right now, our students, they finish a course in a semester. So you know how you would typically take algebra for an entire school year? Right now, they are taking algebra from September and they will end that course in January. And so we looked at that and there are some concerns with doing it that way because one, it moves at a very, very, very fast pace. The second concern with that is technically as a student, I could take a math class first semester and I could not take math for a complete year because I could take it, let's just say if I'm a freshman, I could take it this first semester. Because I'm done with algebra, I may not have a math class second semester. I may not take it the first semester of my sophomore year, and then I could take math my second semester. So that would be a whole entire year of not practicing math skills. And we just think for our students, because we looked at our test scores, we already know that they're trying to build. We already know that they're behind. And we just think a year without having a course is a really long time for students that are not at that benchmark where we would like for them to be. So what we're proposing, and I don't want to take this away from the current schedule that we're in. I understand why this district went to this schedule, and it was primarily because we were virtual and because of COVID. Because if we hadn't, students would have had to try to keep up with 8 courses while they're in a virtual environment. And so the district made a decision, which was really good at that time, to decrease to maybe only 4 courses. But now that we're back face to face, I think we should look to see if that is the best fit for us. And if it is, let's just go with it. And if it's not, then let's just explore some options to make sure that we really have a scheduling platform that will allow our students to, have some great success.
I am looking forward to hearing more. Thank you so much, Ms. Brown.
Not a problem.
All right, any other questions for Ms. Brown? All right, thank you very much. All right, let's go on now to our public comments. Mr. Linsky, do we have any comments?
No, we do not.
All right, as always, what we'll do is we'll give that another moment to see if there's anyone that has a public comment.
I think we can move on. There's still nothing.
Okay, all right, thank you very much. All right, let's go on to our consent agenda, approval of our minutes and schedule of our vouchers. Would someone like to make a motion?
Dr. Beadle, I'd like to make a motion.
All right, Ms. Ashley?
I'd like to make a motion to approve the consent agenda, including the minutes of the November 9th, 2021 special board meeting, the minutes of the November 23rd, 2021 regular board meeting, and the schedule of voucher payments via check, ACH, and wire transfers in the amount of $839,611.06 in the general checking account and the food service account, including funds 10, 21, 27, 39, 47, 49, 50, 72, and 80.
All right, thank you very much, Ms. Ashley. A motion has been made. Do we have a second?
Dr. Beto, I'll second.
Wait a minute, who's that?
That's me, Anita.
Anita?
Peterson.
Okay, thank you. Usually the screen will light up or whatever and stuff. This time it didn't, but okay. Thank you very much, Ms. Peterson. Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor with raised hand and or aye. All right, motion carries unanimously 7-0. All right, let's go on to item number 5, items for discussion, consideration, and possible board action. Approval of new hires, Mr. Klimick.
Good evening, members of the board. We have one new hire to bring to you tonight, Alexis Jackson, as an elementary school special education teacher.
All right, would someone like to make a motion to approve the hiring of Alexis? Is it Miss Alexis Jackson or Mr. Alexis Jackson?
Ms. Alexis Jackson, Ms.
All right.
Alexis Jackson, yes.
Okay, someone like to make a motion?
Dr. Beto, I'd like to make a motion to approve the hiring of Alexis Jackson as an elementary school special education teacher for the 2021-2022 school year.
All right, thank you very much, Ms. Peterson. A motion has been made. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, 2 people did it at once. It was, okay, Nicole. All right. Ms. Zig has a second. Any discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor with raised hand and or aye. All right, motion carries unanimously 7-0. All right, let's go to item B, resignations. Mr. Klimick.
Yes, these 2 resignations in front of you are the 2 that we discussed last week, and the board opted to table action on them. And so I believe we're going to continue that conversation this evening in closed session at the end of the meeting, and then have a decision afterwards. So at this point, I think we'll be moving that toward the end of the agenda.
Would someone like to make a motion to move that, to have they go into closed session?
You don't need to do a motion, but
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. All right, let's go on to item C, approval of the 2022 YSAB Delegate Assembly Resolution. All right, with that being said, we do not have that as of yet. And what we're going to have to be able to do with that is we'll have that come to our meeting in January and be able to discuss that. So would someone like to make a motion to table it?
Dr. Beadle, this is Lisa. I motion that we table this till the January 11th board meeting.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Linsky. Motion to table has been made. Do we have a second?
I'll second the motion, Dr. Beadle. This is Felita.
Thank you very much, Ms. Ashley. Motion has been made. Second, any discussion?
This is Lisa. So as soon as the packet is available, Donna is going to send us the URL to all those resolutions. So what'll happen is we'll all review those and then discuss them at the January 11th meeting. And we'll make a consensus on how our board feels about those so that our delegate representative, who is Ms. Felita Daniels Ashley, can represent us at the delegate assembly.
Thank you very much for the comment, Mr. Linsky, and the explanation. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor with raised hand and/or aye. All right, motion carries 7-0. All right, let's go on to item D, approval of special education laws and policies and practices. Ms. Antadari.
Good evening to all participating, whether you are in person or are remote. This information that I'm sharing is for informational purposes only, just to inform everybody that the special education laws and policies per DPI have been posted to our school website. You may access the documents by going to our district tab, clicking on pupil services, and then the link is there listed as such, special education policies and procedures in Wisconsin. Plus, there are some other great resources for people to access as well. And that's it for my report. Thank you very much.
Question, I'm not necessarily sure then that this is a motion for us to approve it. Has everyone got an opportunity to read over those special education laws, policies and practices?
So they're, okay, so, and I'll just clarify that these are the ones that are prescribed by DPI. So this is just annually, we're to notify that we have them posted.
Okay. All right, well, okay. Well, with that being said then, would someone like to make a motion?
But do we need a motion? What is
See,
So
and again,
historically, historically, the board has approved this. It doesn't change from one year to the next. It's just an annual procedure that we need to be responsive to. Now, last year, the board did vote on it, but it's up to you to decide on how you want to proceed moving forward.
I mean, it's posted on the agenda that we're going to approve it, so I think we should just go off.
Right.
Certainly doesn't hurt anything to acknowledge the receipt.
Right. All right, would someone like to make a motion?
So I will make a motion to approve the special education laws, policies, and practices in Wisconsin as being received by the district.
All right, thank you very much, Ms. Robinson. The motion has been made. Do we have a second?
This is Lisa. I'll second.
All right, thank you very much, Lisa. Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? All right, all in favor with raised hand and/or aye? All right, motion carries unanimously 7-0. Let's go on to item E, discussion and approval of the budget calendar. Mr. Clemming.
Good evening again. I have put out on Board Book the 2022-23 budget planning calendar for your review. This is just kind of a reminder that the business office, pretty much the entire year is focused on 3 fiscal years at the same time. You have in front of you actually the fruits of the labor of the 2020-2021 school year with the audit presentation that you'll be able to review over break, and we'll have the auditors in January to discuss that. We're obviously running the 21-22 budget as we're speaking right now. We're halfway through the fiscal year as we approach the end of the calendar year. And then now we're starting the process of planning for 2022-23. And so this is the calendar. This is very similar to what has been presented in the past. We didn't make a whole lot of changes, but just so the board kind of understands where we'll be going in the next several months, this will be my first full budget where some of it was kind of inherited from the previous business manager. So really right now we're in the process in this December, January timeframe of developing this timeline and starting to get the pieces together to plan for the budget. Next month, we'll start talking about assumptions. When we talk about revenue assumptions, we'll talk about our enrollment projections, what we think the budget, we know what the state budget will offer us in line of revenue. We'll start to prioritize those staffing discussions. We'll talk about open enrollment in January. In February, we'll start talking about expenses as well, and we'll start to see what those assumptions will look like as we start to project what we're looking at, and then we'll be talking about priorities as well to decide with the resources we have, what do we want to focus on. We'll go through a number of drafts of the budget, and internally we'll be discussing building budgets, departmental budgets, continuing the staffing needs, and I'll be meeting with a variety of administrators, principals, department heads, just to kind of get a sense of where we're at. The only thing that I've changed in consultation with our accounting department is in March, we are setting the deadline for 2021-22 purchasing. This is a month earlier than we usually have. So basically we're asking all of our directors to submit any major purchases they have for this fiscal year. Then we're concerned about supply chain and making sure that we can get all of the items that we're ordering and expect to pay for out of this fiscal year. We have to get that taken care of during this fiscal year. So we are looking at that, but otherwise the rest of it is planning for going forward. We will have, again, some more decisions we'll be making in April. I'll start to present updates to the board on the budget, especially in May. We go into June with the approval of the budget, as we did last year with you did with me, and we'll start working on the audit. And then July and August is kind of the tweaking of the budget as we go in preparation for the annual meeting. And then once we get our third Friday count in September and our final numbers for equalization aid, we will be moving forward with the final budget, the original budget that you will pass just as you did a few weeks ago. So that's our basic schedule that we're looking at. It may change slightly. I do have some dates kind of TBD as I work with the various teams. We have a lot of, I'm new to the position. We have a lot of new administrators, so I'll be working with them closely just to try to work. So we may be sliding some dates a little bit. So I didn't put a lot of things in stone, but we'll certainly be working on making sure we hit all these points in a timely fashion so that we can present a solid budget for the board as we go along.
Thank you very much, Mr. Clemick. Would someone like to make a motion to approve the 2022-23 budget planning calendar?
I'd like to make a motion to approve the 2022-2023 budget planning calendar as presented.
Thank you very much, Ms. Smith. The motion has been made. Do we have a second?
I'll second, Dr. Beadle.
Thank you very much, Ms. Zick. All right, motion has been made and seconded. Any discussion? Here again, seeing none, all in favor with raised hand and/or aye. All right, motion carries unanimously 7-0. Thank you very much, Mr. Clemick. All right, let's go on to item 5F, discussion of district report card. Dr. Kelsey Brown.
Good evening again, board members. The district report card for the years 2018, 2019 were posted to Board Book at the request of the board. And then it's just a reminder, due to COVID in the year 1920, a report card was not, scores were not given to respective districts. And then for the 2020-21 academic year, the report cards have been uploaded to Board Book. There was a noted discrepancy in one of the report cards at the last meeting, and so this has been cleared up. these report cards were pulled directly from the DPI website and speaks to our performance at this point in time. And if there are any questions I can answer, I'd be happy to.
Board members, questions in relationship to our district report card? Actually, I have a question in relationship to our elementary school. Mr. Griffin, in looking at the data from this, have you and your team created a plan to be able to use this data and be able to move forward?
We just don't use that data, we use multiple data points as far as like our fast bridge assessment and formative assessments that are being utilized within our curriculum as a whole. And part of the alignment that you'll see is the professional learning around literacy that's been happening, our PLC development, which is also a focus on literacy. Right now, there's a very big literacy push, and we're having a lot of candid conversations about the information that we're currently seeing. In addition to looking at that, it is also important to remember that with the state report card, it's a culmination of 3 years worth of data, and the highest scores that we had just fell off this past year. So we're also looking at how are we improving the level of proficiency for all of our scholars in that 3rd through 5th grade range, which also is the impetus for us having a school-wide SLO, where we're all driving the literacy bus about how we're going to continue to move student learning.
All right. And I guess the same question goes to Ms. Pitchford and Ms. Brown as well.
I was waiting for Ms. Pitchford as she's on there.
I feel like Mr. Griffin kind of summed up. Mr. Griffin kind of summed up everything that I would have said. As well, we're using that, but we're also using our fast bridge data, and that was one of the big reasons why we added in. That's why we added in that winter fast bridge data, because we wanted to gather additional data points throughout the school year. Knowing years prior, we only did fall and spring. So we added that data point in there just to really gather additional data, especially around our math and ELA. That's where we saw a lot of discrepancies in student scores and student data.
Thank you, Ms. Pitchford. Ms. Brown?
In most respects, the high school is doing similar activities. I think one of the main things that I'm working on with the staff members at the high school is just really looking at our core instruction. I think the best way to prep students to be ready for the state test is to make sure that our classroom instruction on a daily basis is very rigorous. And so that's why when we do that morning work and we're really talking about, well, I always say the rigor is in the standards already. So when we talk in the morning and we do that work, what is the standard? What does the standard mean? What does the standard look like when students are proficient at this particular standard? What does it look like when they need work? And being able to give students feedback and be able to articulate exactly what students need to do to improve, I think is really going to push our students further academically. But in addition, when we're down to a crunch too, we still have state testing. We know that there's some gaps. So for the second semester, we are going to pilot IXL at the high school. We're going to change our HIP from being more like a study hall to actually an accredited course where they do IXL for most of the days of the week. In addition, we will have our prep session. So this year we're kind of fixing things with Band-Aids a little bit, but next year I'll know how everything works and what we're doing, and we'll be able to start a more strategic plan, moving forward. So we're on it. We're trying to address it, but as the years go on, I think we'll become more seamless in our efforts to improve test scores.
All right. And I guess my last one is for Dr. Garrison. And Dr. Garrison, anything from the administrative standpoint when we start looking at the teaching and learning and development for the curriculum, anything?
Sorry, I'm on mute. Sorry about that. You have two things that actually three things that we've been really focusing heavily on. Number one, we have been definitely focusing on our PLC development. we know that as teachers collaborate more and really start focusing on student work and what does that actually look like, we believe that that can actually bring greater impact to our school district across the board. Secondly, we have always been having a heavy focus around our curriculums and what curriculums we are adopting. We do believe that over the past, well, just last year, we brought in 4 to 5 different curriculums. And that's the first time that that's happened in the Browndale School District in quite some time when we updated some of our curriculum. So we know that it's going to take some time to actually get our teachers really going into those new curriculums that we've brought to the school district. And thirdly, I honestly believe that the more we keep Tier 1 instruction important and in front of our students, and in front of our teachers, the importance of Tier 1 instruction, I believe that's when we're going to have our greatest impact. So pretty much echoing what the rest of the principals have already laid out as directions, those are some of the similar things that we will continue to move forward in the Browndale School District.
Thank you very much.
And Dr. Beadle, may I also add, Mr. Garrison, Mr. Griffin, and I engaged in a discussion today with an organization called Schools Cubed, where we are looking at understanding what would need to happen in our district to bring implementation of a systematic, equitable way of teaching literacy to our students. So if any of you are familiar with the science of literacy, packages that are not packages, but systems that are being launched in terms of understanding of a systematic way to operationalize the current curriculum that you have in your district or that we have in our district, in addition to all of the skill levels that we know our students, the skills that we know our students need in order to learn how to read, and that would be phonics, decoding, fluency, comprehension, and I'm missing one, there are 5 in that area. We're taking a look at what that would look like to train our staff around the science of reading, because what we know is our colleges and universities, for any of us who are trained teachers, we know we took one reading methods course to learn how to teach students how to read. And so over time, the research is now showing us and demonstrating that we need more in terms of building capacity in our staff to be able to know exactly how to teach reading, which lends itself to this notion of the science of reading. So we just had a meeting today. This is actually the second meeting with this company to understand what that could look like. It's not anything set in stone at the moment, but I just want the board to know that we're exploring other what we can leverage in addition to what we already have to impact literacy in our district. And so very shortly, I will be reaching out to Dr. Tina Owens, the superintendent in Cudahy, who launched it for the first time this year and is actually seeing results in her literacy scores in the school district of Cudahy. So we will be setting up a time to go and visit Cudahy, understand how they launched its program, and see if it's something we would like to replicate here in the school district of Brown Deer.
All right, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
All right, let's move on to item number 6, our board reports, our SWSA and legislative update. Ms. Ashley.
So, good evening, board members and the community. My report is very brief. So SWSA met on December 7th. Just a couple topics that were discussed included, we got an overview from Children's Hospital, from Dr. Goodside and Dr. Kari around the whole COVID experience, as Dr. Brown likes to refer to it. And basically, we all know that in spite of the surge that we're seeing in front of us, there is a trajectory that is trending downward. So that is a little bit of a silver lining to this whole thing, that some of the numbers are starting to trend downward. What is of concern, though, is still, the new variant. And so with that, they continue to suggest just putting in place mitigation protocols, and they are really, really emphasizing the vaccination. And so, I'll put that there and just leave that right there in terms of, what we need to do to really, really kind of cut into the high transmission of the variant and the Delta. In terms of legislative updates, the big news is that 95% of the federal stimulus dollars are available. Currently, though, for the plan for the 5%, that was rejected by the Department of Education, is that they want to, kind of reach out to the Joint Finance Committee and come up with a workable plan, a new plan that will, in terms of how they will be using that 5% of the funds that did not get included in the original stimulus package. In terms of other legislative items, there's the CRT bill that moved out of the Senate Education Committee, and it has not been scheduled for the Senate just yet. And I said for the nope, I take that back. We also had a special guest that presented to our group, and that was Dr. Jill Underley. And she laid out her strategic priorities, and she took some questions from the membership. And our next meeting is scheduled for January 11th, and that concludes the SWSA report. So this is really brief in terms of WASAB. The Governor Evers has vetoed the bill that would have required school boards to list their learning materials and educational activities on their website. There are 10 resolutions that'll be considered by delegates at the January 19th conference. And so the packets are going to be mailed out sometime this week so that you can take a look at it. But some of those resolutions can be found on the WISAB website. And I know that it is set to be an agenda item at our January meeting. And then lastly, just be sure to just check the WISAB website for, seminars and webinars and training that are really useful for school board members. And that concludes my report.
All right, thank you very much, Ms. Ashley. All right, let's go to our Education Foundation report. Ms. Robinson.
Not a whole lot happening this month. A couple things that I will mention. We did go through and reviewed the teacher grant application. Mr. Griffin redlined it for us and gave us some good corrections for that, some things to help teachers when applying for those grants for this coming school year, which will start here in the next few weeks. And we also had a couple of DECA students attend our meeting. The thought is to try and get more students involved in participating in the Ed Foundation, kind of learning what we do and also being able to take away some skills that they can use within DECA as well as within their careers if that's something that they're interested in as well. And that's it.
All right, thank you very much, Ms. Robinson. And let's go on to our Parks and Recreation report. Anita.
Yes. Not much to report. I did not attend the meeting because of the changes in our board meetings. It ran into a conflict with the timing of our monthly meeting for Parks and Rec. I did receive information about that meeting, and there were just a few things that I'd like to highlight. In the meeting, it was discussed, and the winter and spring program offerings were being reviewed at that time. One of the biggest things that came out of that meeting is that Chad, our Park and Rec's director of over 20 years, has resigned to take another position in a different district. Because I was not at the meeting, I don't know when his official last day will be. We did have planned a little going away celebration for those that are on the committee on December 7th. So I'm not quite sure if that was his official last day. But in any event, he is leaving after all of that time in our district. That is all that I have to report on this month. Our next meeting is scheduled for February 1st, 2022 to be exact.
And just to add on there, the 9th was his last day. So Yeah.
Thank you.
December 9th was his last day or January 9th?
December 9th.
Okay. Thank you very much. All right, let's go on to item number 7, our board planning calendar, December 15th, which is tomorrow. We'll have the joint village and school district meeting virtually at 5 p.m. The 20th through the 31st will be on winter holiday break, so there will be no school. The 23rd, 24th is Christmas holiday, so the ASC is closed. And December 30th through the 31st, New Year's holiday and ASC is also still closed. January 3rd will be the first day back from winter break. January 11th, we'll have our special board meeting at 6 o'clock here in the Commons area, but we may start to look at potentially going back to the ASC to have our meetings because of all of the different activities that are actually going on within the high school and the middle school. The 17th is Dr. King holiday. And so that'd be on the 17th, so there'll be no school. The 19th to the 21st will be the state schools convention downtown at the Wisconsin Center. And I do believe all of our board members have signed up for the conference this year. And then the 25th is our regular board meeting. And then on the 28th will be a professional learning day, so there'll be no school. All right, let's go on to item number 8. To be able to make a motion to, in a roll call vote, to go into a closed session. All right, so someone would like to make a motion to go into closed session?
So Dr. Beadle, I make a motion.
All right, thank you very
And-
much, Ashley.
Okay, and a roll call vote to move into closed session to discuss personnel matters pursuant to Wisconsin State Statute 19.85, Parent 1, Parent B, Parent C, and Parent F.
All right, a motion has been made. Do we have a second?
I will second Dr. Beto. This is Anita.
Thank you very much, Ms. Peterson. Motion has been made and seconded. Discussion before roll call vote? Hearing and seeing none. Ms. Robinson?
Beto,
Aye.
Daniels Ashley,
Aye.
Peterson,
Aye.
Robinson, I, Smith,
Aye.
Zick, I, and Zelinski.
Aye.
All right. We will now move into closed session.
It says connected to audio now.
Okay, let me see. Yep, can you hear me?
Yep, I can.
I don't know.
Yeah, I can hear you. Now I can't. Now you're not lit.
All right, everyone, we are back in open session at 8:41 PM. All right. So would someone like to make a motion for the resignations?
Dr. Beto, I'd like to make a motion. I
Okay,
make a motion to approve the resignation of Christine Wyatt as an elementary school gifted and talented teacher effective December 31st, 2021.
all right, a motion has been made. Do we have a second?
Dr. Beto, I'll second that motion.
Okay, thank you very much, Ms. Peterson. Motion has been made and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor with raised hand and or aye. Ms. Robinson, can't. All right, motion carries unanimously 7-0. We accept the resignation of Christine Wyatt. We wish her well on her future endeavors. All right, let's go to the next motion of Aaron Rife.
Dr. Beto, I'd like to make a motion to approve the resignation of Aaron Rife as a middle school Spanish teacher as of November 22nd, 2021.
All right, the motion has been made. Do we have a second?
Once again, I'll second Dr. Beto.
All right, thank you very much, Ms. Peterson. Motion has been made and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor with raised hand and or aye. All right, motion carries unanimously 7-0, and we miss Ms. Aaron Rife. Good luck on her future endeavors. All right, with that being said, would someone like to make a motion to adjourn?
Dr. Beto, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Thank you very much, Ms. Zick. Motion has been made. Do we have a second?
Dr.
Okay.
Beto, I'll second. This is
All right.
Anita.
All right, thank you very much, Ms. Peterson. Motion has been made and seconded. All in favor, raise hand and aye. All right, motion carries unanimously 7-0. This meeting is now adjourned at 8:43 PM. Everyone, thank you very much for taking all of your time, and we wish you well. Everyone be safe. God bless. Happy holidays, and we will see you next year. Good night.